Hey everyone, I'm here today with Katie, who you may recognise from the now infamous double-slit reaction video that I made. Katie and I thought we'd have a bit of a discussion today about what science means to us, and the way we're doing this is by typing in a phrase into Google. We've got a laptop here. The phrase we've chosen is, "What does science?" And there's a few results here. We're just going to run through them, use it as a way to discuss, I guess, what science is and what it means to us.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's get into it.
All right. So the first question is, what does science mean? Or what's the first result that comes up?
What does science mean? So, yeah, I guess these aren't questions you hear every day, but I think there's something I have an opinion on as a scientist. What does science mean? I guess the definition for me of science is something that uses the scientific method. Like, that means making a hypothesis of something, like a guess or an educated guess on how something's going to work, and then testing that hypothesis, maybe doing experiments, getting data that either supports the hypothesis or helps you create a new one, and sort of iterating through that method. And that doesn't just apply to like something you would do in a lab with like chemicals and a lab coat. It's just an approach to the world, like scientifically looking at things, making assumptions or hypotheses on how they work, and seeing if the evidence supports that. And if it does, great, and if it doesn't, changing your mind.
To me, I'm from a non-physics degree, non-science degree. I'm very much in the arts side. Yeah. I think science is just life in general. So I think everything is science. If it's like you look at something and you're like, yeah, that's science, because if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have, or we wouldn't know as much as we do now. I think it's just amazing, really. And even like, I know it's not necessarily what it just means to me, but science is life.
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm interested in hearing your perspective on these things from someone who maybe is more on the arts side of science. I think that's still a legitimate view of science, and to hear that people see science as life, like it's good to know and to see how it's thought of, among people. Because I know on my channel, I used to have a very niche audience of like, mostly I was watched by other scientists, and they would have a similar definition to me of what science was. But now I guess my reach is growing a bit, and I want to make sure I'm including people and knowing what they think of science and what it means to them.
Yeah, and I feel like I've learned so much from watching your channel. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. There we go. Like, double-slit experiment as one thing, but even just by watching all of your videos, I was saying to Toby before that one of my favorite videos is the Rapunzel hair one, because I am 100% into like Disney sort of stuff, and so the fact that you were able to then bring in something that's maybe not technically what people would think of as science, and be like, hey, it is, and here's how it is incorporated, and here's it in a real life situation. I think that's awesome.
Good to hear. All right, so our next one on our little list here, so what does science stand for? Not sure I quite understand what that means.
I do.
Is science an acronym?
I think I know what it means. Yes, it's an acronym. It means, let me follow the letters. Science can independently educate nice children everywhere.
I like it because it has science in the definition.
I know. Cursive. That's why, like, the best definitions are the ones that say the word in the definition.
Yeah, I think we nailed that one.
I think that's what it stands for. Maybe they can let us know in the comments.
Yeah, what does
science stand for? What other acronyms do you have there?
I'm looking forward to some acrostic poems.
Yeah.
All right. What does science fiction mean? I mean, it's another sort of weird question. What does science fiction mean? Well, to me, science fiction, I think of in terms of like popular books and movies and stuff, where it's something that's kind of science-y, but the science doesn't quite exist yet. So like really fast spaceships, Star Wars, like things you could imagine being done with science, but we currently can't do, or that aren't like widely available, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think whenever I think of science fiction, I think of Blade Runner, because I did that at school, and so now all of my perception of Blade Runner is like, all of my perception of science fiction is Blade Runner. I'm like, well, one day it's going to be like that, and that's just science.
Yeah, I think my favorite science fiction movie is Arrival.
Yes,
I've spoken about that in a video before. I just love the concept of it.
I think that's me with Interstellar.
Yeah.
It's like every time I watch it, I'm like, wow. Yeah, my mind is gone.
So I hear people talking about science fiction maybe being important to science in terms of like it inspires science. So like if a movie comes out and the director or whatever has a vision for some new technology and how it's going to change our life and give us a new way of living, science tends to work towards those things, towards those technological innovations. So in a way it is like the apex of science. Like it can be what inspires the technology to catch up.
Yeah, definitely. My favorite thing about science fiction movies that are made a few decades ago is when they have like these amazing things and they're like, it's gonna happen by 2000, and then we're like, oh, not there yet. But they've got dreams and we all need them.
Yeah, and I think it still helps to drive the inspiring stuff forwards. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, here's a big one. What does science mean to you? I think we might have slightly different views on this. For me, what science means to me, science really does, I guess, define my life in a way, because, you know, I would consider myself a scientist. I've done a lot of years in university and school learning science and basing my career around science, and even this YouTube channel I have is based around talking about science and my life studying science. So in a way, it can be hard for me to separate science from my identity.
Yeah, it's like that is you.
Yeah, they're very woven together, and I guess I chose that because I was very interested in science. But science, to me, isn't just a topic you choose to study. Like at school, it's almost like a religion, like a set of beliefs, a philosophy of looking at the world through these, I guess, scientific lenses. And I guess I feel a lot of people turn to religion to find a place of belonging and to find an explanation
like
for the
answers.
world. To find answers, because everyone wonders, like, what are we? What is life? You know,
all
those are big things.
They're not
like,
the questions going to be answering today.
And to me, I gain a satisfaction to answering those questions from science. Yeah.
And that was so much better than my answer is ever going to be. That was amazing, which is why you do science. Like you can tell how much of a passion that you have for it, which is so great. I think for me, science, again, when I was saying science is life, science is everywhere. And so to me, it's like technology, it's growing and learning. And I actually work at a science and arts museum, so I'm able to bring that every day into what I do. And we get to teach kids that from like 5 to 15 and give them new opportunities that they might not get because of science. And watching them discover things, especially like with technology and with coding and even that side of science, you can just see them little minds. Yeah. And it's just such a beautiful little thing to just get more people learning and learning, and that this is just rambling, but that like encouragement to learn and to continue learning, I think, is what science is and what it brings out in you a little bit.
Yeah.
And also science is looking up at the sky and having your head explode because the universe is amazing.
No, like I really like that answer. Just from talking to you, I get the sense that to you, science means a way of inspiring people and a way of improving their lives and the way they look at the world.
Yeah, yes.
So I think in a way we're saying the same thing.
But yours is just definitely more eloquent.
So that's our last question on there. I hope you got something out of our discussion. I really like talking about science and the philosophy of science. It's just something I really like to do, and talking broadly to my friends about it is one of my favourite things. So thank you guys for watching. Go over and subscribe to Katie's channel. I'll put a link in the description, and we're going to film another video for her channel, also using some Google themed games, a Google Feud.
Yes, so we're going to play a game called Google Feud. You'll know a little bit more about it if you head over to my channel, because that's promo. So pretty much you can pick a little category and Google will ask you a question or start a question for you. For example, why does sport? Or what does sport? And then you have a few chances. You have 3 chances pretty much to get 10 of those answers. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I don't know anything about sport, so let's see.
I don't know. Like, why is sport the worst thing? That's gonna be my answer. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.